Van Molenbeek gaat het naar het hart van Brussel. Aan het Fonteinaplein ligt Moeder Lambic, dé plek voor bierliefhebbers.
Is dat it?
Moeder Lambic.
Mother Lambic.
Ja, Moeder Lambic.
This is Pump City. Wow.
Van de 46 bieren die Moeder Lambic van het vat serveert, proeven Jean en Ray eerst de Jambe de Bois en de Taras Bulba. De Taras Bulba is een bitter en dorstlessend bier. De Jambe de Bois is een zwaarder bier, maar evenzeer met een uitgesproken bitter karakter.
Oh, that's lovely. It's very light.
This is just a little bit too bitter.
For you?
Yeah.
You will like this.
Yeah? Do you mind
Yes,
if I try that
I'm
one?
sure, I'm sure.
So yours, what's yours called?
Taras Bulba.
Taras Bulba. Oh yes, this is more pleasant for my palate.
Yeah, I prefer this one too.
I'll keep this one if you don't mind.
Yeah, I want this one too.
Well, I want this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with Jean in this mood and nearly 50 beers on tap, we could be here a while.
So, double X bitter from the Rank Brewery.
De Rank.
Double X bitter. Bitter in the first taste, bitter in the aftertaste.
That's a little bit bitter.
This a little bit, very much bitter. People actually want to drink a beer that bitter?
Of course.
Is it more of a fashion thing that my beer is bitter?
Now, if you think about other customers like Danish, North American customers, it might be fashion. But in Belgium, people enjoy the bitterness.
What sort of people are buying this bitter beer?
Everyone. Young people, men, women, everyone. The bitterness, it's just one day you drink something bitter and say, oh, finally it's really good, refreshing, and the next day you will drink again.
Because your palate gets used.
Yes, your palate gets used with the bitterness.
I can still taste that bitterness in my throat and in the back of my nose. You know, I'm going to have this for the rest of the day now, this bitter taste.
Oh.
What is the attraction in this? It's bitter and I like it.
If you drink something a little bit bitter, first it will be more refreshing, because the bitter taste is more refreshing, and then it will last a little bit longer. And when you drink the beer, you will have the taste of the beer, of your beer, when you discuss with your friend, and you will drink, and have the same taste. So it's highly drinkable. Something sweet is not really drinkable. Something bitter is more drinkable.
Uniek in België is de speciale koelkamer van het café. De bierliefhebbers van Moeder Lambic hebben ervoor gezorgd dat de afstand tot de tapkranen zo kort mogelijk is en dat het bier geserveerd wordt op de ideale degustatietemperatuur.
In a normal bar then, there would be one of these kegs of beer, a line in it.
Go into cold water, then go into the bar.
So 30 or 40 meters of...
20, 30, depending, it might be a little bit longer. And the longest line here is around 4 meters, a little bit less, 3 meters and 90 centimeters.
Going straight, so this from the keg, going straight up to the bar.
And here, like 1 meter from here, you are in the bar.
This must be unique, I guess. 40 of these...
in Belgium, it's not common.
No,
it's not common.
No.
But in the United States, you will see bars with 50, 60,
Oh, yeah.
70 taps.
Oh, yeah. But I can imagine the brewers must be very happy to see this, because where do they serve this beer? Their beer as good as here.
Yes, so you see we are working with Durang, De La Seine, Gendrin, Cantillon, all the small breweries, and they never have a chance to be in the center of Brussels, because normally you have to pay to be in the center and to have a good spot. And second, as we have a better temperature to pour the beer, we have all the flavor, and we have a few brewers like Marc Limet from Kercom or the guys from Gendrin. They said that our beer was better here than in their own brewery.
Than in
and
their
for
own
us,
brewery.
it was really a challenge, because when you get into a brewery, you visit a brewery, the beer is always better.
It's very impressive.
Vlakbij het brouwershuis op de Grote Markt zetten Jean en Ray een biertest op poten. Ze willen weten of hun nieuwe Tournee Generale bier bitter mag zijn. Hiervoor hebben ze enkele bittere Belgische bieren en een objectief internationaal smaakpanel geselecteerd.
Where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Yorkshire in England.
Yorkshire. What's your name, please?
Paul.
Paul.
I'm from Philadelphia in the US, and my name is Greg.
Is that why you have Phillies?
Just in case I forget.
Vous venez d'où?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Sonia, je viens du Burundi.
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 Et moi je viens de France, je m'appelle Philippe.
That's a good mix.
Good mixture.
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do today is we are going to brew our own beer once again. So we want to ask you guys to give your opinion on what we're going to let you taste.
Eerst schenken ze een unieke trappist, de Orval. Het is een droog en bitterzuur bier met een rijke en hoppige smaak.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Petite amertume, mais pas trop prononcée quand même.
Pas agressif. Hein?
Voilà, c'est amer mais pas trop.
Oui.
Moi, je suis pas très fan du goût amer comme ça qui reste en bouche.
It's got a citrusy, peppery nose and slight bitterness in the taste.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Agreeable bitterness?
Yeah, it's an agreeable level. Yes, it's a refreshing beer. For sure.
Unfortunately, it's a very young one, and after about a year, this one becomes a lot more bitter in its aftertaste. It's a beautiful starter beer for people who are not used to hoppy beers.
Het volgende bier is de Gouden Carolus Hop Senior. Een bitter bier van brouwerij Het Anker.
Première impression? Le nez?
Ah oui.
Bien.
Carolus.
Ça fait plus fin que celle d'avant au niveau du nez.
The hop taste is a little more subdued as well. Maybe a little more than the Orval, but it's a pretty well balanced beer.
Well, I find this one has a very nice begin, and then as you drink it, I find there's less of an aftertaste with this one than there is with the Orval.
It kind of coats the tongue in the beginning and kind of wears off at the end with not much of a aftertaste. Still a refreshing, good beer.
Ten slotte proeft ons panel de Gaspard. Het is een extreem bitter bier. Toch blijft het bier drinkbaar door zijn stevige moutkarakter.
Comme l'Orval, le goût arrive directement, mais il est moins prononcé, j'ai l'impression, et donc ça passe très bien. Elle est très, très bien aussi.
Oui.
Oui.
C'est très agréable au début, on a de l'ampleur au début.
Ouais.
C'est-à-dire que ça arrive tout de suite. C'est pas comme la Golden Carolus qui arrive plus lentement, je trouve. Et finalement, mais il y a plus la vraie amertume qui reste que le côté fleuri qu'on avait sur celle d'avant.
There's a little bit of a spice, tone on the tongue, which is nice.
Something you like?
Yeah, no, I do enjoy their beers.
Well, to make our own beer, I think we should consider going into this bitter beers, maybe.
Let's put it to the vote. A bitter beer for our new beer or more fruity?
I'd say bitter because I don't like fruit beers.
I think a bitter beer would work.
Bitter beer will work. It's American market, market.
Amer.
Amer?
Plutôt amer aussi.
Voilà. Plutôt amer. So
Okay.
if we want to sell to Burundi, France, America and England, we've got to do bitter.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We learned a lot.
Brussel lokt dagelijks tientallen buitenlandse biertoeristen. Vooral Amerikaanse en Japanse beergeeks komen naar hier om de brouwerijen te bezoeken en de Belgische bieren te leren kennen. Een van de trekpleisters ligt in de Rue de Boucher, de bierwinkel van de Zwitserse bierkenner Pierre Zuber.
Now lots of beers from all over the world.
Goeiedag, hello.
You bet Pierre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pierre the boss.
Nice to meet you. Ray.
Pierre. When I was younger, all my older, my uncles and my grandfather, they'd drink a pale ale. But is it coming back now then again, pale ale?
Well, pale ale, indeed. Yes, you can say that in the sense that it faded away a bit, the pale ale. Funnily enough, of course, the pale ale, everybody thinks it's an English beer, and it is, actually originates from there. But it's also a Belgian specialty. The big difference between the two is the pale ale, the English pale ale, is actually more bitter than the Belgian pale ale, which is a little bit sweeter, and that's also the tradition of the sweet Belgian beers coming through in the Abbey styles, which are a bit richer, sweeter.
Didn't the English steal it from the Indians, though? Didn't it happen when the English had their empire in India?
Exactly.
Oh, in India, not in America. Not the Indians.
Not the not cowboys and Indians.
Oh, yeah, no.
The Indians, Punjab and the Raj.
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely, yes. So what happened basically in the old days, they had to ship obviously the beers to India. And the problem was in those days, took a few days, even nearly a week, basically, to ship them over. And the beer could go off. So by adding hops, hops has this...
Conservation.
Preserve the beer.
This capacity to preserve more. So that was the whole concept of putting some more hops in the beer itself before eventually watering it down and before drinking it, basically. That's the other thing.
That's why they call it the India
Pale ale.
India Pale Ale.
Wij zeggen gewoon de Pale Ale.
Pale ale?
De Pale Ale.
What's the pale ale that you'd recommend then?
Belgian.
A Belgian pale ale.
Absolutely. This is one that really sticks out from the whole lot. It's basically the one from Brigand van Onsbroek.
Ah ja, Engelmunster.
So this is the one.
Zo flesje.
And there you see the ship that represents crossing over to India, carrying over.
Is it America who's pushing the bitter market?
For sure. I mean, today most bitter beers, extreme bitter beers, are really from the States, basically. Absolutely, yeah. And there's this joke like this: what's the resemblance between canoeing and American beer? They're both way too close to water. So might as well put a bit more hops in there, so at least it gives them extra flavor.
Ja.
De bittere trend komt dus uit de Verenigde Staten overgewaaid. Maar ook in België zijn er heel wat recente bittere bieren, zoals deze Brigand IPA.
The head, very important, comes towards the end, gives extra hoppy flavors.
Look at that. Yeah, perfect.
Also the structure of the foam, whether it's creamy, dense, it gives it also a complexion and the pleasure of drinking, basically. This is why in Belgium, especially the triple styles, you serve them with a big head.
Yeah.
Very important. Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Pierre.
Santé.
Thank you very much.
Our first Belgian IPA.
Do try the head, the foam. Enjoy the foam first.
Right. The foam on its own is very powerful.
Absolutely.
Bitter, hè?
Bitter indeed.
There's a lot of hop there.
Absolutely.
Very pleasant.
Ja, hè?
I think that's bitter, but not as bitter as I was fearing.
Indeed, you've got the caramel malt, basically. So no caramel flavors added, but it's just the barley that is the burnt to a degree that we call a caramel, basically.
Dat is een soort mout, van die gebrande mout, die is ook bij palm en zo gebruikt.
Absoluut. In all the special Belge, special Belgian, they use the same type of malt.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed. I mean, so this is the Belgian version of the pale ale. What are the purists, who tend to be English men with beards, hanging out in country pubs? What do they think of this pale ale?
Well, they would probably very much like that one, indeed, because it's a little bit more bitter than a regular Belgian pale ale. So it's closer to the English ones. And but probably the Americans or the people who love the extra bitter beers will find it too sweet. So it's kind of in between.
Could we have this with a meal, do you think?
The pale ales actually are very a good pairing with actually a steak, a nice barbecue steak. The caramel flavor that you can get on the meat, basically, it resembles to the caramel flavor that you get in the meat. It's so fantastic. It's quite not too strong, 6.5%. So indeed, will go really well with a meal.
Je kunt er ook een stuk of 2, 3 consumeren.
Inderdaad.
Als uw stuk vlees groot genoeg is.
Absoluut, yeah.
And will we turn into one of these men if we keep drinking these pale ales? This bow and arrow hero guy?
Well, you know, the beer is very good for the growth of hair. And yes.
Why didn't you tell me that before? No one told me that. Is it really?
Vitamins B2, yeah. So absolutely.
And you can drink it, or do you have to put it on your head?
Well, you can do shampoos. The shampoo done actually also with vitamin C, the yeast.
We've made a new discovery. Pale ale is back.
Absolutely.
And it's good.
Here to stay.
Here to stay.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Okay.
You really do spoil me, bringing me out to these gastronomic, old-school Belgian restaurants. Thanks, Jean.
Yep.
Because after all that bitter beer, I need something like this to take the taste away. And of course, there's loads more beers to come.
We moeten een vonken leggen. Voor de volgende etappe. Een goed vonken is een pakje friet met mayonaise of tartare.
Well, in England we drink a glass of milk, but you have a better idea. Yeah. Frites and mayonnaise. I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Ja, oké.
Okay.
Next week, I pull a perfect pint.
5-6 cm.
Attendez, maintenant on va faire 3. Non, non, pas encore. Ça, c'est raté, hein, trop de mousse.
Jean pulls a brewer who makes wine.
Altijd moeten gaan wijn drinken tijdens het werk. Wat een ellendige job, Karel.
Kan erger denken, toch?
Denk ik ook.
Then pulls a trick on me involving blindfolds. Pervert.
Why are you making me do this, Jean?
In het hartje van ons bedrijf, dus de stokerij.
And we pull up to one of the oldest breweries in Belgium.
To the man of Brusser himself.
Ja.
Yeah. 'Em. Yeah. 'Em. 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 '
Deze keer geven we Tournee Generale met CC-mel.
Ontdek nog meer over de Belgische bieren in het nieuwe boek Tournee